Because we all could use a little more love. This is MuggleCast episode 60 for October 22nd, 2006. CYGoDaddy.com is the #1 domain registrar worldwide. Now with your domain registration, you'll get hosting, a free blog, complete email, and much more. Plus, as a MuggleCast listener, enter code RON, that's R-O-N, when you check out, and get your .com domain name for just $6.95 a year. Get your piece of the internet today at GoDaddy.com. Eric Skull, your crackpot theory of the week is Dumbledore was a hairless demiguise.
Realistically, whose beard is that long? It's got to be. It's got to be fake. It's got to be a wig or maybe magically enhanced or something. But nobody's beard is that long. Really, what you don't know about Albus Dumbledore is that he's been bald since birth. It's just a character trait.
You're supposed to be proving it, Eric.
Yeah.
Did I ever prove him?
Yeah, you're supposed to use evidence to support the theory,
yes.
No matter how outrageous it is.
Right. Well, aren't demiguises the things that can go invisible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Well, easily without wearing an invisibility cloak, even though they're cut up and made into. They're made into invisibility cloaks. So I don't know if that counts as not wearing one. If you're wearing your own skin.
So is that your answer? Is that the best you can do?
Well, I don't know.
For the fans, for the listeners?
What does Chad 15 from Arkansas think of that? Who sent it in?
It was actually Miranda 17 of Idaho, and her points included Dumbledore can turn invisible without a cloak. Another point, this would be a reason it's weird that he had James's cloak, even though he can turn invisible himself.
I didn't think of that one.
Well, let's get her on the show. She can do Eric's
Eric.
theory better than Eric can.
Eric's fired. He seems to be able to see through the invisibility cloaks.
Andrew, why does that make him a hairless demiguise?
I don't know. She said, I know crazy, I almost had myself convinced before I realized just what I was saying. Welcome to another week of some excellent Muggle casting, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andrew Sims.
I'm Ben Shane.
I'm Kevin Steck.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Whoa,
right over you.
Eric.
I forgot my place there just for a second. I'm very sorry. I'm going to go last in honor of myself.
And Jamie.
Good job, Eric. I'm Laura Thompson.
I'm Eric Scott.
This would be the show where we bring in the latest in Harry Potter news, theories, discussions, all this other nonsense.
This would be the show, or this is the show?
I think this is the show,
okay.
But it could be, and it will be.
I would say maybe we're doing something different this week. Maybe we're just going to BS the entire time.
I don't know. Maybe we'll try that.
Something different.
Before we do anything else,
Speaking of BS, let's go to Micah Tannenbaum for the past week's news.
It was reported earlier this week that after months of negotiations, J.K. Rowling had signed a letter of intent to the Walt Disney Company, allowing them to carry out preliminary construction on the theme park with Harry Potter characters. Tuesday, a representative for Joe informed us that there is no truth to this. There goes my shot at writing Dementors of the Caribbean. That was a terrible joke. Terry Gilliam, the acclaimed director Warner Brothers turned down for Sorcerer's Stone, said in a new interview that he has no intention to direct either movie 6 or 7, debunking previous rumors that he would. He was quoted as saying, Warner Brothers had their chance the first time around, and they blew it. It's a factory job, that's what it is, and I know the way it's done. I've had too many friends work on those movies, I know the way it works, and that's not the way I work. Man, Terry, retract those claws, would you? Gilliam went on to discuss what his Potter movie would have been like. He said Alfonso Cuarón's Prisoner of Azkaban is really good, but the first two I thought were just bad. They missed the whole point of it. They missed the magic of it. Alfonso did something much closer to what I would have done. Oh, somebody's jealous. That was just too easy. In a new interview, actor Rupert Grint spoke a little about the fifth Harry Potter movie, saying they have about a month of filming remaining. He also mentioned a Christmas scene with the Weasleys that he enjoyed, and touched on the topic of a director for Half-Blood Prince, noting rumors that Alfonso Cuarón or Chris Columbus may return for the film. HP4U has released a new report after visiting the Order of the Phoenix set recently. The crew was in the process of shooting scenes involving Thestrals, Hogsmeade Station, and the Hogwarts Express. Filming was located at Black Park in Buckinghamshire, England. Finally, the American Library Association is asking teens to vote this week. Why just teens? Everybody vote this week for their 3 favorite books, with the association subsequently posting the top 10. Half-Blood Prince is among those nominated. Be sure to vote and make Laura Mallory cringe. That's all the news for this October 22nd, 2006 edition of MuggleCast. Back to the show.
Okay, thank you, Micah. Let's take care of a few announcements. Don't forget to purchase your MuggleCast t-shirts because they help support the show, and They're very nice to wear. We have some new designs out. Actually, we have one new design, and we have the Lumos shirts that are available. And they're pretty cool looking. So even if you didn't go to Lumos, even if you don't know what Lumos is, buy them because they're cool looking.
Lumos 2006, the very nice T-shirts.
Yeah.
All the cool kids are doing it.
Don't forget to place your vote at Podcast Alley. We're actually falling behind this month. We're like number 5.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, there's other podcasts beating us, and it's kind of sad. So maybe if everyone could place their vote just once a month, we could get a little higher up there. So
Please,
Just
just once a
so
month.
Self-conscious.
just once a month. please.
Wow.
Okay.
I love how sad you sound.
Bad news out of Australia.
We
Bad news out of
lost.
Australia.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez.
Lost the Nickelodeon Australian Kids' Choice Awards to a podcast called Camp Orange MuggleCast,
What is that?
which makes sense considering it is a Nick show, writes Megan 18 of Australia. The Kids' Choice Awards have got some criticism in the past. I was reading on Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Because they sort of, the winners always seem to be Nickelodeon related television shows. So it doesn't surprise me we didn't win. Even if maybe granted, maybe we didn't get the best.
We all know
votes.
it's a load of phooey because who listens to the Camp Orange Modcast?
It's not even on iTunes. I tried to look it up on iTunes. Wasn't there.
They have their
but
own.
thanks to everyone who did place a vote for us.
So do us a
appreciate
favor.
it, but-
Email Nickelodeon. Send him your complaints.
How do you feel about this win?
Yeah, let them know how you feel about MuggleCast getting shot down.
Also, you might be wondering where Jamie is this week.
No.
MuggleCast has personally paid for him to get lessons in French because he butchered the RSVP pronunciation. He thought it was répondez, s'il vous plaît. Then someone emailed and said, no, it's respondez, s'il vous plaît, without checking it. So he just trusted that one person. It actually is répondez, s'il vous plaît. Thanks to Holly17 of Canada.
Come on,
we'll never
Jamie.
bring it up again. Yeah, we will never bring it up again.
Yeah.
Also, a little announcement. It's so far back in the planning stages. We have really nothing to say other than that. Well, here, let me ask you guys something. What is the number one request that we get right now?
More Ben Shane, I think.
That's number
No.
2. What's number
oh.
1?
Less Eric Skull.
That's number 3.
I can't.
That's
The number one thing people are asking us right now is, will you guys be at Prophecy 2007 in Canada?
Oh.
Which is
Jeez.
August 2nd to the 5th, 2007.
Nothing good ever came out of Canada.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Well, it
kidding.
didn't
Canadian
come
visitors.
from Canada. HBAF is based in America.
I know.
I'm
I'm just
registered.
kidding. Are you really?
The answer is, you
Yeah.
signed up for
Save
Prophecy?
gas money. Part 2 with Eric
2.
Skull.
Part 2. I'm going to rearrange the acronym. We're going to read Book 3 from Chapter 4, The Dementor on. We're just going to read all night long.
You're gonna popcorn read.
Oh, yeah? Are we?
And John Noe's going to be there. He's going to show up and hand out leaky stickers and leave.
What site?
So if you haven't figured it out, yes, we are planning on going to Prophecy.
Did you actually
There's no-
talk to Melissa about this?
No. We haven't talked to the Prophecy people about doing a live podcast yet or anything.
But we
So,
will be there.
very
Tentatively.
least,
Tentatively. Okay.
Yes.
Tentatively.
If you want to help us out, send a little email to Prophecy people. Say, hey, at Lumos, Leaky Mug did a podcast. They're going to be doing one again. Just drop a hint, And then we'll get in contact with them soon. So
Yeah, so as of right now, we'll know for sure, and probably within the next, it has to be within the next month or two, we'll know for sure if we're doing a podcast or not.
I guess.
Well, last time
Maybe.
we knew November, and the convention was in.
Was it November?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
decided
it
we
was
asked in
November.
November, and the convention
Oh,
was
okay.
clear in. It was in July,
July.
So, and this time it's in early August. So yeah, prophecy2007.org I believe is the website. So
Yeah.
check it out. Get registered.
Send them an email.
Tell them MuggleCast sent you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, last week everyone might remember that we had a great. It was a pretty good discussion
was
on
a pretty
time.
I think we hurt people's heads.
We did. We got a lot of feedback.
I was
from
gone.
it.
How many times did Andrew sing "Time"?
Just once.
Oh,
Just once, yeah.
Did it for you, and then I had a little moment because I realized you weren't there to sing it with me.
Aw.
It's really touching.
How sad.
Anyway, we got some lengthy rebuttals. We're going to read 2 of them now. One from BD of Alabama. age 27. On the subject of time, Kevin is right. In linear
About
time,
time.
if someone goes back in time to change an event, then it creates a paradox. If someone wants to change an event by going back in time, and they have time travel at their disposal, they would go back in time and change the event. Now here comes the paradox. If the event has changed and all the following events were changed, why would the time travel want to go back and change an event in the first place after the event was changed? In other
It's
words,
true.
the time travel would not have any reason to go back in time to change the event, so how did it get changed? Now, if you're still reading this, I would like to point out that this is one of J.K. Rowling's more brilliant ideas. In The Prisoner of Azkaban, the events that were changed by Harry and Hermione had already happened in their timeline. Buckbeak and Sirius escaped before Harry and Hermione went back in time, and they had already helped them to do it. We never saw Buckbeak executed in the book. Harry, Ron, and Hermione assumed that McNair cut off his head, but we actually saw him cut into a pumpkin. Harry and Hermione did not change anything. They did what was done. They just did not know we actually saw him cut in... No, they just did not know what was done, which gave them a reason to go back in time to change it. Also, it would be just like Dumbledore to know exactly how Buckbeak escaped when he suggested to Hermione that they could save 2 lives. Keep up the good work. Love the show. That was
Yes, but there's a flaw in that, which is the Harry seeing Harry across the lake and thinking it was his father, because initially there would have had to be someone to start off that chain reaction, like the first time Harry went back, to make him see somebody across the lake and then
Yeah,
do
but
something.
that goes into
Yeah,
the
but-
paradox. It
That
goes into the
falls into a
paradox,
loop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
An infinite loop, right, Kevin?
Right.
I don't know. I'm of the liking that when you go back in time, it strays stray paradoxes such as Back to the Future, how timelines change based on different events if you alter.
Yeah,
them.
like
I don't
yes,
think it's just
yeah.
one. I think that's. I think time itself is comprised of a bazillion different dimensions, and every little choice, every little difference that we can make in the world creates an alternate, separate but different
scenario.
universe. And that's like we're just traveling through time by going through all these things. It's really cool. Watch Sliders, by the way. It was this old show on Fox.
Let's go to James. Let's see what James 105 of Baton Rouge has to say.
It's pretty old. Are you going to read it?
I'll read it. The whole time discussion was a bit convoluted. I think you should imagine time from each individual as a string. For the trio, set each string on a very long table and have an inch equal an hour. I know they be very long strings, but we'll focus at the end on the end of year 3. Since Ron has never traveled back through time, his string will be perfectly straight. Since Harry has only ever gone back 2 hours, his would be interrupted and folded back so that there would be 2 inches overlapped. That is to say, there would be 2 inches where the string was doubled. So yes, Harry would be in 2 places during 2 hours. Hermione would have that effect multiple times during the school year, since the whole idea of the time turner was so she could take classes that occurred at the same time. She would have to be in 2 places at the same time several times per week, so her string would be folded over in several places. As a matter of fact, if she used the time turner to go back 2 hours each school day, that would be 10 hours a week. And assuming a 44-week school year, 4 weeks for each summer and Christmas, sorry, I'm burping here. She would have aged an extra 440 hours. So at the end of the school year, she would be older by about 2.5 weeks compared to if she had never touched a time turner.
So basically, it's not even worth celebrating Hermione Granger's birthday anymore because she was hitting that time turner. Or if you do celebrate, it's
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that it is on that day, Eric.
Huh?
Well, her
well,
birthday is
that's
on
true.
that
That's
day.
true. The
No,
birthday.
I'm confused what they're saying. Like, how would it make her older?
That's true. Yeah. Well, no.
Because she was alive twice
It
during
means
that time?
yeah. It's still her birthday.
The method that person is using to like judge time is from like an external observer, like someone observing someone externally. But because everyone's within that environment, it doesn't bode well for if you're trying to track time and you're a participant within the world or within that.
So what theory
area.
do they use? Which extrapolation method? If you
No, that
No.
what they're just saying is to count
Yeah.
how old the person is. It's not really based on what stream of time they're in because we're all within the same.
I don't know. I just kind of got an idea of the Greek, the 3 ladies with the scissors, what were they, the seers or
The
whoever.
Fates.
Yeah, the Fates, of course. The Fates who cut your string and to determine when you're going to die. And in Hercules, they sing and they dance. And that's
Nice.
It was just an interesting way that Gene put it, I think, using the strings, because it's an easier way to demonstrate. Basically, Ben, you asked earlier, what are they saying by how she aged earlier? When she's going back in time, she has to relive up to the point where she originally went back in time. So she's still aging. Her aging does not stop.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get you.
We did mention a problem with this last show where if you go back in time too far, you won't have enough time to catch up before you die.
of old age.
Of old age.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, the repercussions of that.
We'll get to some more rebuttals
That's
later.
weird. It's all confusing. Well, I'm
It
gonna
is.
time travel.
I got so many emails about people saying we made their head hurt. Where
Yeah, and it was an
There were
episode
actually
without
people
me.
that didn't like the show. There were people who thought that we went in too many circles.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's time
Time
travel
is
for you.
circular.
Yeah.
History repeats itself. Get used to it.
Let's get into our main discussion now. I think this might be the final part of our Department of Mysteries discussion. It's basically a wrap-up of everything else that we did not discuss already between time and the Veil.
Well, we talked about, as Andrew said, the Veil and time, which I think were the two biggest things that were focused on during the Department of Mysteries chapters. But there were a lot of other little things in there that I think a lot of people are wondering about. The first of which is, why was it so easy for Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Luna, and the Death Eaters to get into the Ministry that night? There was no security. Why was that? Harry even noted that he felt ominous, that there was no security. He felt there should have been. Why was there no one in the Ministry that night?
So J.K.
Well, what
Rowling
gets
could
me-
write a story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Closed for writing.
Well,
session.
if she wanted,
No, okay. If you were to ask J.K. Rowling this question, is what it was. I was just being a Weisenheimer, like usual.
Oh, Ben,
Which
you're
you
a
are
wise
so
man.
often.
I am such a Weisenheimer. The reason there was no security, maybe they were distracted with something else.
Like what?
Yeah, I mean,
But the entire Ministry of Magic?
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
not-
but it's not
okay.
the entire ministry. It is somewhat of a workplace. So, I mean, go into any of your financial buildings at 12 midnight and you're going to find maybe 3 or 4 people there. A security
janitor.
guard, janitors,
Right.
and maybe
Right, but
the
this is
person
this
staying
is
late.
different though. This is the fabled
Yeah.
Department of Mysteries. This is not the
Yeah.
lobby at the Ministry of Magic. This is
Well, that's the thing that got me. You can just they were able to just go into the elevator and select Department of Mysteries.
And then just open the
And
door and go
they go
in.
right-
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no one
It's like even
guarding
at
it.
hotels,
Yeah,
exclusive rooms, you need a key card.
I was always under the impression that there were preparations made by the Death Eaters to
Yeah. 'Cause
arrange that.
They're waiting for
Because
Yeah,
him.
it-
but how'd they do that?
Well, they
Oh,
have
I'm
contacts.
sure-
Lucius Malfoy. I mean, it's not like he would pay
through
for it.
curses. Yeah, I mean,
What do
it's-
you think? You think Malfoy paid off
No, it's
whatever that Eric guy to leave the
Or
security
put
guy?
him under a curse.
Not paid off.
or did something. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
well,
saying
the
he
Death
paid off.
Eaters. The Death Eaters arrived first, correct?
Well, they were
Yeah.
waiting.
Yes.
For
Okay, well,
Eric.
maybe it's a case like we saw in Sorcerer's Stone, where Quirrell pretty much cleared the pathway for Harry to get to the final area. Maybe the Death Eaters had already taken care of the security measures and made it, because, their goal was to lure Harry into the Ministry of Magic, and if there's extraneous or extra security, then it's going to be more difficult for him to do it, so...
Yeah, but it's still the Department of Mysteries. How were they able to just walk into
Also,
it?
remember, they're Voldemort, and they can't let the Ministry see Voldemort. Or whatever, so they have to protect themselves, too. But, no, that's not the example I want to use. Was it even midnight, guys? I was under the impression that everybody was just out at lunch. Or a
No,
majority-
it wasn't during the
It
afternoon.
was
'Cause-
nighttime.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they were
The
talking.
sun was
they
rising.
The sun was rising when Harry got
When he
back
got
to
into-
Dumbledore's
yeah.
office, so it took place during the night.
Well, okay, but I was under the impression everybody was wandering back into the lobby right after, the whole fight occurred.
No, Harry heard
as if coming back
people.
from lunch.
Yeah, he said he heard people going to breakfast, and he couldn't believe that people were still enjoying a meal, knowing what he'd just been through.
Well, that was the next day. I mean, in the lobby, right after the fountain, exploded, Fudge was like, "Ooh, look, the fountain. Yes, I saw him too." But then people were kind of wandering back in, like, "What just happened here? Like, where
Well,
were
that
they?"
was
It's not them
Yeah,
coming.
That
to
was
work in the morning, was
because
it?
by the
they
by the
got
time
alerted by that point.
exactly by the time all this was happening, the Aurors had already been alerted.
They had been monitoring this place.
But don't you think the
figuring
Aurors would
out
be, guarding the Department of Mysteries, especially?
Exactly. Why was no one there, and why were they able to just open a door and walk in?
Maybe all the
But that-
no, wasn't the Auror on guard in the in Voldemort's circle, or something? One of them, he could have just stepped aside and let him in. I don't know. I don't think it's that big
But that's
There
what I'm
was no
saying.
one
I
there,
was
though.
always under the impression that they had taken preparations beforehand.
Yeah.
They had placed a couple people under a curse
Right.
and made it so
Right.
that come X hour, leave or get lost, and then they can just stroll in.
Laura,
I
you
mean,
never-
those people who are guarding the place are also the same people.
That's only a
who-
logical
Yeah, I
explanation.
mean,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Voldemort may have, of course, Voldemort has insiders in the Ministry, so he may have, and probably the Department of Mysteries too. So he probably could have had someone
Yeah,
either run
yeah,
the
and I
others
mean they're
off
resourceful
or
people.
let 'em
It's
in,
not
yeah.
like they don't know what they're doing.
I don't know about the elevator though.
Yeah,
'Cause-
just the fact that they were able to walk into the Ministry, like there was it wasn't locked, for instance. They walked into the phone booth and they just said, "We're here to save Sirius," and it prints them off these little badges that say "Rescue,
Rescue
Mission."
Well, one door was locked, and that brings us to
Well, actually,
No, I mean, it just seemed like the only security was when they got into the circular
Well, put it
room
this way.
where the doors just
there's
kept changing.
100,000 people say work at the Ministry or whatever, however big it is, however choose big it is. They all have to get through the lobby, get where they're going. I approve of the idea of like a club card getting into the Department of Mysteries, but remember what's also on the same floor as Department of Mysteries. There's the old chambers for trial, and isn't Arthur?
but they
Weasley's
aren't
office
used
right
really
there?
anymore.
I don't know.
No, and Arthur's office is not there.
It's not there.
No, it is not.
I don't know. I'm all aflutter.
But you think that even though you can still get up there, that there'd at least be someone guarding the door?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
the
but that's
Death
where
Eaters
the-
would take that guy
exactly.
out.
I mean,
But it's interesting to me, why didn't the Order have anyone there? Because we know that Arthur had been guarding that place, so clearly they'd been taking precautions to guard the Department of Mysteries.
yeah, but I mean, count how many Death Eaters were there. Do you think one person
Sure.
would stand a chance against all those Death Eaters?
Well, no, but still,
They may
why
have not
wasn't...
made mention
Dumbledore
to it,
would.
but
Anyone
I'm
was
fairly
there.
sure that there was some protection and they just bypass it through either cursing the person
Right,
or...
but with a place this important, it's like when a robber goes and sticks up a convenience store. There's always, or a bank, there's always the button that alerts the police under the table. You
Yeah, but
think if
that's what I'm
someone was
saying,
getting taken out, wouldn't they have a way to alert other people?
Voldemort and Harry Potter both need to get in the Department of Mysteries. They're the two strongest forces throughout this entire book series. Do they really need to try?
No, it's not that. It's that the people who are guarding that type of place and who have access to that place are going to be the people they're going to curse and have to remove the security.
Voldemort's been concentrating on this Department of Mysteries the entire year. The Order
Yeah, that's what
knows
I'm
it.
saying.
The
He's
Order
pretty
has been
resourceful.
guiding. Yeah.
So why didn't we hear about anyone in the Order being cursed when they were trying to protect the Department of Mysteries? That's what I'm saying.
That other guy was.
If anyone... I know, but if anyone had been there that night, then we would have heard about them being cursed as well, unless they flew the coop when they realized what was going on.
Well, Mr. Weasley was guarding it, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, what if Mr. Weasley... They obviously found Mr. Weasley there very injured. Now the Order... Not the Order, but the Ministry goes, what were you doing there after hours? Why were you there? Okay, so now they have just blown their cover, making it impossible for them to put another person there because it's going to get highly
But didn't
suspicious
they-
to the Ministry.
kind of like.
Didn't they cover it up?
Yeah, didn't Dumbledore say he had they made up an excuse for it?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
exactly.
sure he did.
Well,
Because Sirius...
even then, I mean,
Even if they have an excuse, people are going to turn their eye.
for all you know, Arthur was the only one who had the possibility of having access to that area.
Well, right. If
without
anyone else was
suspicion.
sitting down there, it
Exactly.
would look suspicious.
So,
yeah.
so the Order probably that was their last form of defense, and it got blown by him getting injured.
Attacked by the snake, yeah.
Good
Yeah.
job, Arthur.
Yeah.
And that's why. But that was a no. That's not Arthur's fault. That was Voldemort's plan.
And that technically did blow their cover because Arthur couldn't go there again and sit down there.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
No, obviously not.
So I mean, right there you have your explanation for why
Yeah.
there wasn't an Order member there.
Good
It
point,
just
Kevin. Good
seems
point.
Odd to me though that there wouldn't be some sort of security on it anyway.
But
Like,
that's
even
what I'm
when
saying. Like,
Even when Arthur was there though, like why isn't there some sort of security on this place 24/7?
Well, another thing, Laura, remember, everybody's under the impression that everything is sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Voldemort's not back. What do we have to protect ourselves from?
yeah, that's true.
That's strong mindset of everybody. Strong mindset.
Well, the next thing that we should probably move on to is whenever they enter the Department of Mysteries, the first thing they come across is the brain room. And we saw that Ron got attacked by one of the brains when he yelled Accio brain, which I found kind of amusing. But Madame Pomfrey said that thoughts can leave deeper scarring than almost anything else. Now, are we talking physically, or does he have some kind of mental scarring? Because it doesn't seem to me like Joe would kind of drop that little hint for no reason.
I think it has to be mental because
yeah, definitely.
No, it's
how
very
could a
physical,
thought
too.
harm you physically?
Well, no, she's talking about how he had scars on his arms from where they had wrapped themselves
When they
around
wrapped
him.
And yeah, it's not just emotional scarring. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
very physical thoughts too. They're not just
Yeah.
memories; they're thoughts trapped in the brains that have made them. It's kind of like if a person passes away, they have all these memories of everywhere they've been in their life, different life
Well,
experiences.
yeah,
but
the
nobody
mind's
can
very
see them.
powerful.
But, how can you retrieve those thoughts from a person? They're gone with that person, the exact things. But, trapped in this brain room, in these things, all these thoughts, maybe it's all the hateful thoughts that, but all these thoughts are trapped in this juicy brain that's going to come out and lash at you. And, I don't know if it was. She said that it was thoughts that were attacking him, and I would think that would have a strict physical impact too. Because have you ever had thoughts come at you? I mean, how would
Well, actually, a good example of it is if you ever heard of when people die, the
I haven't heard of
electricity
that.
that's Eric. When people
Sorry, it
die,
was just a
it has been accounted that the electricity released from their brains has been powerful enough to stop clocks. So that it
when
stops
they're-
the clock at the exact time of their death. So I think it goes to show that thoughts could be powerful enough to physically harm someone as well as mentally. My question is, does Ron possess those thoughts now? Does he have memories from the brain that attacked him
doubt
that at one time belonged to someone else?
I doubt it.
But how do we know where those brains come from? I
Well,
mean,
yeah, exactly.
like, it seems to me like each part of the ministry has, like its own, like what each part of the Department of Mysteries, like studies its own things. Like there's the death, love, all that stuff. So what do you think they're studying? Are they studying thoughts or what
They're
are
studying
they,
the mind, I believe. I mean, there
or
was a
memories or
huge...
what?
The mind was a huge theme in Order of the Phoenix. I mean, just because
Yeah,
of
and
Harry's
and the
occlumency
mind
lessons.
is a mystery too. So
Yeah, and Snape essentially told Harry that the mind is not
An open
a
book.
book to be open and read at will. It's got to be studied very, very closely, I suppose, differently. And I don't know how exactly they came across these brains, if they just yanked them out of dead people's heads or what.
Well, crap, forgot my question. Wasn't Ron already delusional or something? Wasn't he already, like, kind of messed up when the brain started attacking him?
Yeah, he'd
Yeah.
been cursed by a Death Eater. And I thought that was interesting because the reaction that he has is sort of similar to the reaction Dumbledore has from drinking the green potion in Half-Blood Prince. They were both kind of delusional and out of it, and both started saying, no, stop it, Harry, and like trying to get Harry to help them, and
Well,
Harry couldn't in both
Whereas
scenarios.
nothing was attacking Dumbledore visibly when a giant brain with thoughts was lashing.
It doesn't matter,
No,
though.
it doesn't.
It's still
It's
thoughts,
true.
though.
It's a brilliant parallel. I think
And
it's cool.
this is why I don't know, I just kind of wonder if Ron somehow has some sort of important memory that will play a role in Book 7, like something that Harry needs to know.
I don't think that's
because-
it at all.
Why not, though?
Where do you learn this, Ron? Oh, it was when that brain attacked me. I learned all this stuff that
Well,
I've just had
no,
sitting around in my head for
Yeah.
years.
It would.
I did
It
mention
wouldn't
it.
be
I
like
didn't
that.
mention
It would. But it almost seems like there are a lot of things that happened at the end of Order of the Phoenix that we didn't hear anything about in Half-Blood Prince.
It's true, but we did
Like,
hear.
what about the guy who turned into a baby? What kind of crap is that?
Well, his head,
Yeah.
his head
Death
was
Eater?
his head
Yeah.
was de-aging and then aging again. That was pretty messed up.
We talked
You
about
can't
that
hurt
last
a baby,
week.
but
so.
no, the whole idea and why I brought that up is because I just think that when Ron was in the hospital ward, he was clearly getting remedies for that curse, and I think it was just all washed off. I think that the thoughts, all the
I
trauma
don't think
from
so.
the thoughts, I don't think.
I think there would be some residue.
There's going
but
to be
thoughts-
something
was in
left
your
over.
head.
You got to look at the way the brain was in contact with Ron. The thoughts were burning into his skin and stuff, and lashing at him and grabbing him. But it didn't really do any. We didn't see it affect his mind. He was just really under
Not
that
that
other
we
curse.
know
and he
of.
was
We
really
don't
scared.
know. That's a point. We don't know of anything happening to his mind, but they alluded
We only
to it.
we only see the world through Harry's eyes, so we can't sit here and say,
That's
I
true.
know what's going on in Ron's mind, because it's not from his point of view.
I don't know that there's much of an argument that thing really affected him emotionally or for a long.
I don't know. I just
know.
think that the mind is an exceedingly powerful thing.
Oh yes,
It really is. And
absolutely.
I think it's pretty short-sighted to think that you could be attacked by a brain like that and not have any sort of repercussions, physical or mental.
Well, he had a lot of physical repercussions. He was torn up. It was pretty dirty, but
But we didn't hear that much about that. That's the thing. It
Which
seemed
is
like
true.
Madame Pomfrey
It-
was
it-
going to lengths to cure the scarring as best she could. But
Well, how do you
she
think all
said-
this is going to come full circle is what I want to know. I mean, how is that going to play
Ben,
into the...
I hate to let you down. We don't know.
I know. That's why I said, how do you think, okay? No reason
Okay.
to be a smart aleck.
I don't mean to.
I'm the Weisenheimer here, okay? I'm just kidding. What I'm saying is, I don't know how... think about all the stuff she has to incorporate. Something like that may
Yeah, there's a
seem
lot,
like it's
and-
going to go to the wayside just because she doesn't have... I mean, unless it's really pivotal. I mean, it's interesting, what did he get from the Department of Mysteries, but the fact that, it went ignored in Book 6 and nothing really was carried through, you think if Ron had some thought that was essential, that it would somehow get mentioned.
Stood out.
Yeah.
Well,
What would have happened by now?
I don't know, because if you think back on, all the books, there have been tons of little things that no one thought anything of at the time. And then a couple books later, that thing becomes huge. There are probably hundreds of little clues in Half-Blood Prince that we all missed. Just little things that people have said, descriptions about the way someone looked or
Yes.
where someone
But
went.
when have we seen Ron distribute any kind of extra knowledge than he would have by being his
I don't think...
slightly, cynical...
I don't know. The
self.
thing is, I think that if something like that were to happen, she would try to draw attention away from it during the 6th book, because she drew attention away from the Department of Mysteries.
She drew attention away from everything.
Exactly, because there's clearly something kind of big going on.
There's no doubting it's plausible that Ron, has some thoughts from this thing. I just don't think it's likely.
And whose brains get into the brain room?
That's what I was gonna say. If he does have someone's thoughts, are we gonna find out, whose brains these are?
Yeah.
Maybe they save James and Lily's brain, and then
Ew.
and then Ron can tell Harry where Godric's Hollow is.
I almost think it's kind of the case where you have people who donate their bodies to science. Wouldn't it be the same thing? Like you donate your brain.
To the Ministry of Magic.
And then
Yeah.
they donate their bodies to be thrown through the veil to see what happens
Yeah.
to them, Ben.
I'm gonna wear my. I'm
Well,
gonna get a
how
t-shirt.
else?
I
What do they
would.
do? They just randomly choose people, or they say, "Oh, your brain's mine when you die," or it isn't like they can.
Well, what if they take unclaimed bodies or something like that?
John Doe's.
Well,
of the
that's
world.
really
Well,
pleasant.
What if you went up to?
Unclaimed
Well, hey,
No.
they did that for that exhibit with all the dead bodies, which I went and saw in Vegas. So it was actually pretty cool.
Guys, what if you went up to anybody on the street and just said Accio Brain? What would happen?
I don't think their brain would.
Fly out of their
Pop
head.
out of their head,
I don't
their
know.
body. If you...
I think they'd laugh at you.
Either
Yeah.
way, one thing's for certain.
Like how people laughed at you when you walked through New York City in your cloak.
They didn't laugh. They were
Oh,
awed, and you guys were all
burn.
jealous.
They were odd.
Well, you
Right.
see, there's so much diversity in New York City. It's normal.
it's a,
That stinks right in.
true.
But I'm gonna definitely get a T-shirt since we're talking about this that says I donated my brain to the Ministry of Magic because they needed one.
That's nice.
Well, you have to have
Okay.
a brain to donate, so.
oh.
Well, Eric, what would make your brain worthy? I'm not trying to insult
Of the
you,
Ministry of Magic? Perhaps it won't be. You're incredibly correct, Laura. Maybe they would refuse it. Maybe my dying wishes would be for the Ministry to have my brain, and they wouldn't want it, and they would just throw it away.
I'm kind of alluding to like what would
specifications,
be the requirements. Yeah, what would
I would think it would be anybody they could get. I mean, learned professors, obviously, they would want to, like Nicholas Flamel.
Yeah.
Like maybe Nicholas Flamel, maybe they could have asked him to donate his mind to the think tank, which is the brain
think
bank.
tank. That's literally what it is.
the brain thing, tub of brains.
The brain tub.
Maybe, they would want to get him if they were studying the mind. But I think they would also try and get lower minds, perhaps like mine. Just to judge the diversity of minds. Isn't it true you need brains of all sizes and all shapes and all to do a real study?
You need
on
brains
them,
of all types of capacity
for
intelligence.
That's what I mean. But who knows? Maybe the Ministry wouldn't want my brain. I don't know.
I would think it would be more of a
I think it has to be
donation
donated.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
it's not like now. Like,
it's
the
unethical
unclaimed
to-
bodies. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
unclaimed
unethical
bodies you're
to-
talking about, were like homeless people they found dead in the alley.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you imagine
that
the
exhibit in
UPS
Vegas.
guy got a delivery of brains for CO fudge?
Damon.
CO fudge. Got a delivery of brains. Just dump them in
Yeah.
the think tank there.
Yeah.
Quit calling it the think tank.
It's a good name. Is that not a good name?
That is a good name, but it sounds so goofy.
So anyway, I don't know. Back to Madame
I think
Pomfrey.
we're-
It just seems, thoughts can leave deeper scarring than almost anything else. Maybe she's just saying in general.
Yeah, but
Your thoughts, your personal thoughts.
it sort of alludes to her talking not only physical scarring.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
just don't see how they can transfer to your body because it's a
Yeah,
brain.
she didn't
It
really
just
say-
doesn't really
but
make sense.
It touched your body.
So?
It's magic, though.
Right, but see, there's something different, though. Something different, though, is Dumbledore stressed the importance of how death isn't it. I mean, how, if you look to the bad side, the evil side in Harry Potter, that's what they're concerned most about. What the good side is always concerned about sacrifice and what is the best thing that I can do to benefit humankind in general, as opposed to, well, I'm going to be selfish and worried about myself dying. So it seems to me like the physical sense, I mean, it applies physically because he has the scars or whatever, but I think mentally it makes more sense because
It does, yeah.
your thoughts, like, look to Harry and Voldemort, maybe she was saying something like that meant a lot more than she knew, because
Well,
look,
You know what I'm
the
going to
thoughts
do?
have deeper
I'm
scarring
going to...
than anything else. Because look at Voldemort sent those thoughts into Harry's brain, and the next thing we know, Harry shows up at the Ministry of Magic. Sirius dies. Ron gets hurt. All these bad things happen. So I think that's the deeper scarring.
When Dumbledore
happens.
when Dumbledore talks about how life, death is not the worst thing, he's actually talking about the scarring of the soul that Voldemort's got, and there's a lot of soul stuff. That's all the references there with impartial
Well, what
souls.
he's basically saying is that Voldemort, the life that he's given himself now, is actually worse than what he's fearing.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thought of thoughts is what Ben eventually said, which was, in my opinion, which is the thoughts drive the mind. You said the mind was a great big theme in Order of the Phoenix. Well, the mind controls the people, and the people do the evil, and the people they change history. And, this is all about people. But the mind is the most powerful thing because it drives you, and thoughts, and if you think that mudbloods are worthless, it's everything. It ties into literally everything. It's untraceable where this is coming.
By the way, guys, forgot to mention this in the beginning of the show. 60 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
60
Oh,
episodes.
yeah. Wow.
Good job.
Not too
Good job,
shabby.
boys and girls.
Not too shabby.
No, not at all.
I think
It's
it's
an
time
impressive
for
number.
start thinking about retirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have our
Apply for Medicare in a few
Dentures.
years.
Well, Social Security's almost run out, so.
and we dumped our own fund on Lumos. All our retirement funds were spent going to
On
Los
Lumos.
Angeles.
But anyway, here's to 60 more. It's a big number, 60.
Yeah.
What have we been talking
Well,
about?
it's
all
not
this
as big
time?
as 61.
How do we come up with... that's the number one thing I get asked by people who don't listen to the show.
What do you talk about?
What?
Yeah, same here.
What do you...
Keep
Exactly.
talking about, yeah.
What do you... Yeah. We have had a discussion every week about, whether it was chapter by chapter or a character discussion or something like this.
Well, something I
Anyway.
keep getting emails or chapter by chapter coming back. Is chapter by chapter coming back?
Yeah, guys, should we
Oh,
lay that
I
down?
we
think
settle
I
this?
think chapter by chapter should come back eventually because we're gonna run out of things to talk about, and in order to, what's the word I'm looking for? Preserve the longevity of MuggleCast.
I don't know.
We'll
Yeah.
need
talked
something
about
that's going
this.
to do that.
I don't want to but I don't want you guys just to strategically pull it out of your pocket when we're short on episode stuff. We did have a meeting.
Well, that's the
about
plan.
this.
So, yeah, we did. We have been getting a lot of emails about this, and we haven't brought it up because we didn't really want to upset anyone who is really missing it. But we did talk about this. We had a lengthy discussion about this in
Well,
LA.
I had a lengthy
It's
discussion.
very lengthy.
Yeah, and we're gonna hold off on it for now, but it'll come back. Just not right now.
The next room that they encountered was the love room, which was locked. They couldn't get into it. How would a room contain the power of love?
It's the
I heard the
power
Black Eyed
of
Peas song,
love.
"Where's the Love,"
Dun, dun,
plays
dun.
when you walk in.
No, there's
Where is the
the,
love?
and then there's a sign that points
Where
over
is the-
here. It's over here. No.
Like, so if they open the door, would there just like be this blinding light power of love that would spill out of the room?
Yes.
Or is it okay, how do you contain something like love
Okay.
behind a door?
Think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Have you seen the movie? Have you all seen Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yes.
At the end of the movie, the Ark of the Covenant breaks open, and the big white light comes out, and everybody has to. Well, Indy has to close his eyes because the site is too holy for anybody to see it without their faces getting ripped off.
So you're saying it's so great, it's so wonderful
Yeah, Dumbledore himself
that it would
said,
rip Harry's face off.
No, not Harry's, and that's very important. But it is locked because, well, Dumbledore himself said it needs to be measured in certain quantities, and it's just of a really big magnitude. Or Dumbledore said something exactly like that about maybe you need to wear a smoked glass mask, like a welder's mask to go into it. I mean, I don't know, but I'm saying it's locked because
Well, it melted Harry's knife.
my guess is that the large majority of people would not be able to handle that room. Now, as for containing the power of love in that room, I have no clue, but it is the Ministry of Magic, and if a concentration of love would be somewhere intelligent for study, it should be there. I don't know.
It just seems like, how do you... People can't even come up with a definition for love, so how do you contain it?
If you ask some high schoolers, it's
well, no, I
you've
don't
been
think-
you've been
What
dating
is
somebody for
love?
2 days, and
Baby,
oh my god, I'm so in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I think I love Subway more than most high schoolers love their boyfriend or girlfriend.
No, Laura, I think no. You don't need to understand what love is to contain it. That's not
reminds me of a
that goes
song.
against science. Why do you?
I want to know what love is. I want you
No,
to show
shut up.
me.
No,
Sorry.
seriously, you contain things so that you can study them. You trap an insect, a lightning bug, to see what it does. It's almost like you know how to catch it before you know what it is you have. That's true about everything.
Okay, Eric, how do you catch love?
It's like a firefly, there's a
Here, lovey,
Guys.
lovey.
I'm sorry,
bug.
but
love bug.
I just don't see how it can all, like, you can just open a door and
Right, but
there's love
all
in
I'm
it.
saying, all I'm saying is you don't need to know
it's
what.
kinda messed up.
Hold on
You
a
don't need
second.
to be the most
Hold on.
educated person in the world, and know all about the facets of love. You just need to know how to capture it. And a lot of people want to capture things, just need to know how learn how to capture
love is intangible. There's no such thing as like oh look, watch guys, you caught the love bug.
This doesn't have to relate to love, because I know Ben was making fun of teenagers in love. But any time in any of your lives that you have ever been attracted to somebody, did you just look at that person and say, I think I want to be attracted to this person? No, it just happens. It just happens out of the blue. You can't control it. So how
Well,
do
what
you...
kind of attraction are you talking? Physical?
I'm
or-
talking about just a general attraction, like whether it be personality, appearance, whatever. You still have that kind of attraction, and you can't just capture that. You can't just say, I have this, because you have no control over it. It's the same way with love.
Like I was saying, love is intangible. It's not like you can buy love.
So what are we talking
So-
about here?
So what I'm saying is, Eric, you're saying you have to know how to capture it.
No, I'm saying you don't have to
can't.
know. I'm saying
No,
you don't have to
but
know.
what Laura is saying is there's nothing physical that you can actually capture because
Yeah.
no one knows what you're capturing.
Yes, but it's
you
magic.
can't capture something that you don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, Voldemort knew.
It's
made all
as
his
though the
Horcruxes.
Firefly, in your Firefly example, it's as though the Firefly was just like pure light. You can't capture it. Every time you try to grab it, your hand goes through it because you don't know enough about it to actually create a physical boundary on it.
True, but Voldemort created 7 Horcruxes, and assumably nobody knew how to do that before him. Maybe he invented it.
Okay, but a Horcrux is a physical thing.
Yes, but it's things along the magic world that very few people know about. It's the extremes of what you can do to your mortal soul or immortal soul.
Okay,
as
but
the case be.
but love isn't an
Love
object.
is everything. Maybe love is like the Force.
Eric,
God.
Laura, where is it? Do you have where they talk about the love room in here?
They don't talk
The
about the
love
love
room?
room. It gets mentioned, and then it's like,
No,
Yeah,
basically
where it's
Dumbledore
mentioned.
said that he didn't specifically call it the love room.
he says there's
He
a
just
room
said-
in the Department of Mysteries
he
that
said-
contains a Force something.
He said it contains the power that you have in such great quantities that
Yeah.
Voldemort detests.
Love? And he's like,
Oh.
yes, essentially it's love.
Okay, but here's my question. Like, why is the love room locked?
Because I said a lot of people can't handle that much
Okay,
loving.
this isn't Raiders or whatever. Raiders of the Lost
Why
Ark.
is it not?
This is Harry
It's
Potter.
no, it's the same concept.
Okay, is
It's
Indiana
the same
Jones
concept.
in these
No,
books?
but-
No.
Listen, if it's a love
Eric-
of room,
Eric,
Do
your
we
chain
agree?
of thought is flawed in the fact that if you have a door, it is meant to be opened, and therefore you can view what's inside the room.
if you have the right equipment on.
If they could not open that door without being blown away, then they would put it in a box that couldn't be opened. Period.
No, well, obviously, like Pandora's box. But anyway,
Well, what I'm saying is a death chamber was easily accessible, but a love room isn't.
See,
Right,
that's-
but it's
Well,
like you
okay,
can't
It's
bottle
so bad
hate.
calling it the love room.
Dumbledore always emphasizes the power of Lily's love for him. So,
Exactly.
okay, so if love has a lot
certain
of
people
power,
could open that
then maybe
door.
it just shouldn't be
No,
open. Then
certain
maybe
people
there's-
could open that door. But do you guys agree with me? If Voldemort opened the love door, would he not get blown away? Would he be able to walk
I don't
into
think
the
you could
love
open
room?
the love door.
You mean you don't think anybody can? Why is it there? People are studying it. Dumbledore said it was being studied.
Something that I noticed was that no one else really seemed to be affected by the love door, but Ron was. It said that he was... Let me look here.
Ron?
Yeah, Ron was. I put it in here somewhere. Hang on. It says Ron looked at it with a mixture of longing and apprehension, which no one else seemed to feel. So why was it that Ron... He kept saying stuff like, are you sure we shouldn't look in there? Are you sure we shouldn't try? Or whatever. And no one else really seemed to have... It didn't have that effect on everyone. It was kind of...
Maybe
it was
it's-
almost similar to the effect that the veil had on Harry, Ginny, Luna, and Neville.
Maybe the love room is actually the room of brotherly love, and nobody has as many brothers as Ron.
No,
Except Ginny.
bad.
Um,
Bad.
Maybe he wants Percy back. Maybe Percy's on the other side.
no,
calling
maybe
him on.
Hermione was just right next to him in the room.
That's where Percy is all of book 6.
This isn't
Okay,
getting
anyway.
anywhere, so let's move.
No,
along.
but what I was saying was Eric mentioned maybe specific people being able to open the door.
I don't mean specific people necessarily, but like the trained
what if, for
unspeakables
instance-
who are in the Department of Mysteries, who are the aficionados for opening that kind of door and viewing that kind of thing and studying it.
Okay.
Like you need to have a safe environment.
Well, I'm
a work-
sure, but for instance, it just strikes me as kind of funny that Harry couldn't open this door that possesses the same kind of power as he does. Now, you brought up certain people being able to open it, and Ron didn't actually try. So what if he could? What if that was, like, explains the attraction that he felt towards it, because he would somehow be able to open it?
Close
Well,
the
even if you were able to
door.
open it, I'm pretty sure it would have burned off the faces of everybody else who wasn't qualified to open it.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
dead
pretty
serious.
sure this
I'm-
isn't Raiders
well-
of the Lost Ark.
I'm
Okay,
pretty sure
but-
that's not the case.
But Harry put his Sirius's key changer,
Knife.
lock changer,
The knife.
into the door, and it melted. So there's only one key for that. I think it's not necessarily even who can.
Maybe
open the
someone
door.
was.
I think
Hey
it takes
guys. Hey guys, maybe someone was cooking something up in there, if you know what I'm saying. Because it melted. It's pretty hot.
Cooking up some
okay.
love.
That was
Cooking
kind
up
of
some
creepy.
love.
The shippers. Hey, I wonder how many fanfics have taken place in the love room.
How many what?
No, they originate in the lust room. Never mind. Fan fiction.
The lust
Oh.
room.
Oh, God.
But at the same time, it's
God.
like death. You know, if there's a death room, when you open it up, and you're not going. You know, I mean, like if there's a hate room,
Yeah.
There's
it
a
isn't
room
like
devoted to
it
death.
isn't like
where
you
you
can.
go after
It isn't like you can bottle hate. I mean,
Right.
you
they're
can
just
bottle hate,
emotions.
bottle fame, brew glory.
So,
Never mind.
about those prophecies.
2007.
That was a really
.org.
crappy.
No, I like that. I think that's the best transition we've ever had.
Okay, well, we've talked about prophecies at length on the show before, so I don't really think we should focus on them for too long. But does anyone think that any other prophecy aside from Harry's is going to play a role in Book 7?
Yes, there's one prophecy where it has an old woman and an old man and a woman says that the
Those were
solstice
actually
will
two
come
different
anew.
prophecies.
Okay, two different prophecies then. Where at the solstice will come anew and none will come after. Those two prophecies, like those lines, were italicized.
Yeah, they were definitely emphasized. I think they were important.
Ooh, which lines are these? I missed these.
You missed something? Eric?
No, I didn't, but I've been
It's
out of the
unreal.
loop for a couple episodes, so I'm kind of like, what was the second prophecy? That the new will come anew, and the
There
new
was
will be not
whenever
new,
they
and
whenever
there
they
won't be anymore?
smashed
What?
some of the prophecies to escape, Harry specifically heard.
This wasn't part of the original prophecy. The none can live while the
No.
other survives.
No, this is a separate prophecy. This is
You
when they were
remember
in the Hall
whenever
of
they
Prophecies.
were stupefying everything to escape, or reducto, whatever they were using?
One fell and it opened and it said solstice.
Yeah, it
new
said at the
something.
solstice will come anew, and then another one broke, and then it was a woman saying, and none will come after.
Oh no, that's a joke. Because at the solstice there
What?
came a new. The fifth Harry Potter book came at the solstice, June 21st, 2003,
Okay, but
It's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, I freaked
Don't-
out about
and
that.
it's
I
book
emailed
5 that
Emerson.
it says it in. That's a joke
I-
about the book itself.
don't
That's an
think
inside
so.
joke.
I don't
No,
know.
it's not an inside joke.
Yeah, Joe's
there will
like
be 7.
Joe's
and
slapping
there
her
will be
knee
7,
about that one.
And
Yeah.
and there will be 7, and none will come after.
What
It's-
it?
it's-
Okay, Eric, you are
Well,
one of
actually,
the.
that's kind of interesting.
Eric, you're one of the
Andrew's
biggest.
considering
Oh
this.
my god!
That's a crackpot theory.
Maybe it's a little Easter egg she left for
Little
us.
Easter egg.
Little Easter egg.
Joe does those.
Happy
I can
Easter.
believe
Okay,
that.
do you guys think, speaking of smashing prophecies, do you think there are any possible repercussions of them breaking all those prophecies? Are those the only
No.
records?
No,
that are
because
left?
I would assume that they were all cataloged, right? They said they were in
Well-
like an organized
Well,
system.
actually,
well,
the only
yeah, that's
person-
what it
Right.
was.
So,
Oh,
so
They
you
broke
know
them.
what, though?
assuming they're cataloged, then you would assume that there was some sort of record as
Then
to what
again-
they said.
But
Yeah,
no,
it says
no,
in
no,
Order
you
of the
can't
Phoenix
record.
that those are just for the record, or what does it say, Laura?
But you can't record
Well, those
what
are
was
for
said.
those are only for the record of the Department of Mysteries, and the only other
Right.
people that know what was said were the people who were present and the people who
Right.
said them.
'Cause
So
the
if those
ministry can't
people are
read them.
dead, then
Oh,
that
I
prophecy's
thought-
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because the ministry themselves can't even hear the prophecies they're keeping, so I don't think there are many.
Are you
if
sure
any.
they're not logged somewhere else?
This isn't MuggleNet. No. They're not logged somewhere else. What would be the point? I mean, prophecies
Oh,
have...
book.
No, they have to be protected, though.
Yeah,
Especially
but I don't
ones
think
like
there's any
Harry's. You
repercussions.
can't just have multiple prophecies lying around, multiple records of them, for people to just run across.
No,
Well,
I know
the
that,
only
but I
people-
thought
Guys,
maybe
the only
I'm getting
people who can
confused with what you said.
Here, retrieve the prophecy from those little glass balls, the spheres, were the people that it was made about, or
Right.
whatever.
Yes.
So the ministry, even though they're cataloging, like, who can open each ball or hear something from it, however, we didn't even know how that's done, extracting the actual prophecy from the thing. I don't think there are any repercussions for for actually destroying them, considering how likely is it, and most of the prophecies don't even come true, which is the other thing. And then the ones that do, like, how exactly do you arrange for an appointment inside the Department of Mysteries to hear your own prophecy? I think, what are they for to begin with? What is the point of keeping that room of the Hall of Prophecies? What is that for? Considering the ministry can't hear a darn thing that's in them. And you can't. It doesn't seem to be very easy to go in and find out what it says yourself.
It's for the record, first of all.
For the record, they can't even record what was recorded, what was said.
It's written on the prophecy or something.
They say
isn't
something's made to somebody else. It's made by Sybil something Trelawney to Albus Percival, Wolfert, Brian Dumbledore. And that's all it says, but it doesn't say what it is. And unless you smash it. No, unless you smash it, you cannot hear it unless you smash it. And even then, you have to.
Well, that's the only method we've seen.
No, but the only people who can
remove
the prophecy, the only people who can remove the prophecy from the shelf are the people it was made about. But I wonder about the people who are storing it there. How'd they get it there? Well, I don't know.
Okay, no. On the prophecy, it says, and Ron saw it too, SPT to APWBD, Dark Lord and Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's all it says. It doesn't say the whole prophecy.
Well, no, Eric said it only just said who it's from and to. So take that, Eric.
So
just saved us 50 complaint emails.
Yeah, but you would assume that description came from the person who actually created the record of the prophecy.
Maybe they can touch
it.
But
like Dumbledore said, "Hey, this is the prophecy concerning Dark Lord and Harry Potter. Store for me."
And that, we know, thanks to, Voldemort says that the only people who are able to remove it from the shelf once it's on there is the people it was made about, actually, the people it concerns.
When he grabbed it, it felt as though it had been lying in the sun for hours, as though the glow of the light within was warming it. Just a little tidbit there.
I've read that line in fan fiction many times. And so...
Okay.
Anyway.
It's uncalled for.
No, listen, but I guess since they know it about, you proved me wrong, Andrew, about that. Since they know what it regards, I guess the person who made the record of the prophecy is able to touch the prophecy and place it on the shelf. But I don't know. We don't know anything about the storage of them, except that those are the only people who can remove it are the people it was made about, or recorded to have been made about, and that's it. I would just hate to be the sound guy. Putting in that sound of smashing glass on the 10 million digital glass spheres that are going to go off in the fifth movie. The fifth movie.
Well, that's what they're paid for, Eric.
Yeah, that is what they're paid for. You're right. They make 100 times
there.
more than what we'll ever make.
That's right.
Planets. Let's talk about planets. If you'll remember, Ron, Ginny, and Luna all ended up in a planet room.
Yeah, do you think Pluto was a planet in that room? Did anybody see Pluto? Was Pluto mentioned? Because I'm interested if JKR thinks
no.
Pluto's
You know what I thought was funny, that Luna mentioned that she blew up Pluto, which I thought was kind of nerdily funny.
That's kind of ironic because it's not a planet anymore.
Maybe she
anyway. What's being studied in the planet room? Maybe the
Uranus.
Maybe.
Oh, that's so funny. Not.
Thank you. Good
I
night.
mean, we know that the planets do have some like the alignment of the planets do have some effect on showing what's to come. So I would assume they're trying to study the positions and current state of things.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you explain the string theory as it
No,
applies to astronomy?
I have not explained the string theory.
But it's good.
Oh, yeah, it's good, but it is not something to be explained on a Harry Potter podcast.
Oh, right.
You don't even understand
But I knew you could, so I thought I'd ask. But Google or Wicca the string theory, if you're interested. Many people have speculated the alignment of the planets has a lot to do with Earth itself and gravity and Earth turning. And
yeah, it's just concerning. It's essentially concerning where gravity actually comes from, because gravity is a force, but what actually is a force? It's just...
And what started it?
String theory is a model of fundamental physics whose building blocks are one-dimensional extended objects. Whatever the hell that means.
No, seriously though, if Earth stopped turning, we'd all go flying through the wall at approximately 100,000 kilometers per second.
That'd stink.
That would really stink. Time would go on.
All right, so to me, a planet room in the Department of Mysteries, like in Professor Trelawney's class, there's always the question of, or the alignment of the planets, it foretells your future. Maybe that's what they're studying.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Absolutely.
Yeah, but Ferenz pretty much said that was crap.
Side of. He did, but how accurate are their thoughts about all this? Because he was downplaying everything that Trelawney was bringing up.
Yeah, well, Ferenc himself said that the stars have been read wrongly by centaurs too, so I don't think anybody...
Right. So nobody really knows.
It doesn't seem like the planet room would do much good.
Yeah, but
maybe it might.
I mean, it's...
Well, they're trying.
Yeah, of course. It's something that they may not ever understand, but they're trying to understand.
These departments... And it's interesting talking about these departments, but I don't know that we'll ever get knowledge of what the Ministry Wizards have learned from these planets, considering they're kind of just there for a show in a way, but,
who would they show them
it's
to?
cool to have a planet room, and it's... Yeah, it's cool to see
I don't think they're there
it would be
for
great
show.
to ask J.K. Rowling, hey, what have these scientists uncovered about planets in this room? But it's not written. It's not written in. The room is there, but Joe couldn't tell us about a meteor that's actually coming towards, us or anything like that based on the studies of these wizards. What I'm saying is this room is a room, but we wouldn't, we could hear her theories on what's in the love room. But beyond that, she wrote it, and it's a matter of, yes, there's a planet room, but does that mean that they actually know stuff, and that's going to come into play in the books?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of rooms, I thought it was interesting because as I was rereading these chapters, I noticed that there are obviously 12 doors in the circular room, and they went through 5 of them, which leaves, guess how many that we don't know about?
6.
7.
Oh.
That wonderful.
Yeah,
Wow.
12 minus 5 is 6, and Andrew's
7.
shrinking into the woodwork.
So what I thought was kind of interesting, though, and it's not really important, I guess, but all of the rooms that they were in were kind of connected. Like, the brain room led directly into the death chamber.
You think about death.
Yeah, the time room led into the Hall of Prophecy. And the planet room must have also been accessible from the Hall of Prophecy, because Ron, Ginny, and Luna ran in the opposite direction of Harry, Hermione, and Neville.
To me, it makes sense for time and space
Well,
to be
exactly.
related
Well,
to death.
what I'm saying is it's all kind of connected the way every aspect of your life is connected.
So are we to assume that those 12 doors and 12
Are all
rooms
connected.
presumably are the 12 aspects
Well,
of
not-
life?
Not
as we know it?
necessarily the 12
Obviously, how
aspects of
planets
life.
are an aspect
Well,
of
love
life.
and death, and space and time, space, love, death.
But
How
I
many
mean,
more is there?
obviously, we didn't see everything that the Department of Mysteries had to show. And there are obviously 7 doors left. Do you think we're going to find out what's behind them?
I don't think so.
How Harry's going to kill Voldemort?
How Harry knows where Godric's
The
Hollow
Voldemort
is.
room.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, there should be
It's like the
tyrannical
remains of his previous
Well, the Dark
body.
Well, we
room.
could assume that one of those doors leads directly into the planet room, which would take us down to 6.
That's true.
But I don't know. You guys all know.
Yeah, but
that,
I think she touched on the rooms that she wanted
Yeah,
to describe.
that's exactly what I was saying.
And
about
although
the
we
planet.
may see them in passing, I don't think they're gonna play a huge
See, I
role
don't
in
know. I
the
don't know.
events.
You guys,
Maybe there's like a break room,
funny.
Oh,
we
so
kind of missed the point
Are
where
you
JK
thinking
can
that
just
she's
go,
going to use?
a bathroom. You gotta have a bathroom down there.
Yeah, that is a big
I'm
part of
saying.
life, isn't it?
You know they
Yeah.
call the toilet the think tank. Maybe that's what scarred Ron. It was
Oh no,
never mind.
let's not go there. I don't know. You guys know how I feel about the Department of Mystery. You guys know how I feel about the Department of Mysteries, and
I don't know. How do you feel?
Shut up. I've been stressing it since like last year that I think
Okay,
that
sorry,
Harry's...
new listeners. You don't get to know how Laura feels because.
Okay,
you
I am
can't be bothered to-
explaining Andrew
Sorry,
Sims.
new listeners. Yep, we're supposed to all guess because we're all new listeners. It's okay, Laura. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
We'll
No,
figure it out
as I was
To be
about
fair
to
to Laura,
explain
Andrew,
before I was so rudely
to be fair to Laura.
interrupted by this New Jersey kid, I think that the Department of Mysteries is extremely important, and I think that Harry's going to go back and learn a lot about it. I've said it multiple times, and I think we're...
How's he gonna get in?
Well,
They wanted to be a spokesman.
Yeah,
what the
I
hell?
think he has a
He
pretty
already got
big.
in once before.
No, it's not only that, Eric. I think that the Ministry is going to treat Harry slightly differently now that they know that Voldemort is back.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Because
people
he-
I
inside
don't know if
the
that still
ministry.
gives him a reason to go into the
Right,
Department
but
of
I think
Mysteries, though.
if he wants to see the Department of Mysteries, all he has to do is walk right up to it and go, "Hey, I need to see in there because it pertains to Voldemort."
I don't think Scrimgeour is gonna let him in.
Yeah, I don't.
I see him having pretty much free reign.
Yeah, I think that.
Well, if he
Harry's,
I
I
don't
seriously
know.
think that Harry's, I think his battle with the Ministry is over. I really,
do too.
No, I think
really
he needs
think
to.
it is.
Well,
Yeah.
Still, there will be politicians who hate him, like Lucius Malfoy and Rufus
Of
Scrimgeour.
course, but
No,
they
I
don't
think
have
the
any
general.
power.
I think the general people will, and if they see him coming in to work, even if it is to go to the Department of Mysteries, him being at the Ministry is kind of doing what the Ministry wants of Harry. Anyway.
exactly.
Well, yeah, but I think the only reason they would let him in is because they know he could, raise a fuss and, get something printed in the Daily Prophet maybe or something.
Which is
like
true.
that.
He
I
has
think
a
that's
lot
enough.
of power, essentially.
Yeah,
he
over
does, he does.
the
Harry has
political state of
tons
things
of
currently.
power.
Ooh, that's
over the Ministry
interesting.
now.
The power that he now has, not based on how he's matured as a wizard, but just how he's viewed in society, that power has grown dramatically since Voldemort's been back.
Well, yeah, because
Right.
he's the only one that can kill Voldemort.
No, well, yeah, but Andrew said that, if Harry says something in the paper, not that the paper prints anything because the Ministry leans on it, but that's okay.
Go back to the Quibbler.
Yeah, but as you'll
Yeah,
remember,
exactly.
the Daily Prophet started printing articles about the truth at the end of Order of the Phoenix.
Yes. What do you mean? The one that said Voldemort is back?
Yeah,
Well, of course they had to. Well, they sort of had to.
yeah, but see now everyone has to listen to Harry because they looked like complete idiots.
That's true. That's true.
And nobody wants to look like an idiot. I feel like debating something.
I feel like leaving.
Kevin has to go, everyone, so everyone say bye to Kevin.
Bye,
Bye,
Kevin.
Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, no, but wait a second. Letting him back into the Department of Mysteries, I don't think they will. Because he would
Well,
have to
it
provide
doesn't-
a
I don't
valid
think it-
excuse.
I don't think it matters. I think that whether they let him in or not, he's gonna go. I think.
Yeah, I
that
think no, I
he'd
don't think
break
he's going to
in
go.
if
I
that's
think he
what it
should go.
took.
I think he should go. I think that people will let him in if they see him, but I hope Harry becomes the kind of person who cares a lot about studying what's in that room. He might bring Hermione in with him. He might ask, I don't know, do you think Harry could actually talk face to face with the people, the unspeakables who are actually in the Department of Mystery? Maybe they'll be slightly more speakable about what they've learned.
I don't know. I still kind of wonder if Lily wasn't unspeakable. There's really no support behind that, but it would be
Well,
interesting.
because nobody's talking about it.
And because there's not much
Yes,
reason.
that was a-
Yeah, there's no reason
Yeah.
behind it, but I think it would make sense just because Jo said that one of them would have to have a high-paying career. And she said that
don't know,
the
maybe-
employment was kind of important.
Yeah, maybe it was James, and he went back
I
in
don't
time
think
and
so.
gave himself a penny in the time room, or he gave himself a newt, and then he went back in time and got the newt, and gave himself a newt and got the newt, and that's how Harry has the fortune.
So I think that wraps up our discussion on the Department of Mysteries.
Yeah, it was a good three-piece
Thing.
thing.
Thinger.
Three-piece suit.
Laura, you'd been
It was a
wanting to
three-piece
talk
suit.
about it for a while.
What's next, Laura? Laura,
Yeah,
what's
what is
next?
What do you mean? What's next?
Discussion. I like the series thing.
In case should we do series?
Well, sometimes.
Series
Not all the time.
discussions?
We have a couple emails now. A couple more emails. Christina, 16 of Canada, writes, "Hey, MuggleCasters, this rebuttal is for Jamie. On episode
good, he's not even
59, he
here.
said that people are... I know. On episode 59, he said that people are curious about the things that they hate. Sorry, Jamie, but there's living proof that what you said is not true. She lives in Georgia. If people are really curious about things they hate, then why doesn't Mrs. Mallory pick up a Harry Potter book and actually read it? Whoa, snap,
Okay.
Christina.
I don't
Girl.
think so. Because the truth about Laura Mallory is she has picked up a Harry Potter book. She has skimmed them, but she hasn't actually read them. She's curious enough about them to actually open them up and look at them. I think that people are curious about the things they hate. How many times
I think they are afraid
Okay.
of what they hate.
I'm gonna
When's the
and
next
it's
hearing,
true.
Laura?
I don't know. They haven't scheduled it. But for instance,
Okay, we're
that
done talking about
every-
Laura Mallory.
No,
It was just
no,
a
no,
quick
no.
email I wanted
Uh,
to read. And
No, okay.
have a
What I'm
chuckle over
saying is that every single person who listens to this show, for instance, has gone out and searched for a person that they hate on MySpace because they're curious about what that person's MySpace looks
You know,
like.
that's a good idea. I
So-
think if Laura Mallory
Well, I
stirs
think-
up any more trouble with her stuff, which she's going to do, we should give out her phone number and encourage every single visitor to call her.
Ooh, that would be pretty good. I'd like that idea. I finally have a MuggleCast dating service update. Finally got one. We put these two together, and really happy about. Actually, I'm completely making that up. I haven't put any two together. because it's a very messy business trying to put people together. But we got this email the
Actually, I
other day.
think the MuggleCast
and I'm
dating
just gonna
service
pretend
is
like
responsible for John knowing Kelly Egan. Don't you feel so?
Oh, I would agree with that statement. Yes. We got this email the other day from Chris15 of Arkansas. He writes about his dating service success story. So, I didn't use the actual dating service, but I just got my first girlfriend in 5 years because she was listening to her iPod when she came outside as I was playing basketball. And I asked her what she was listening to, and she said, MuggleCast. No, MuggleCast. That was when we clicked and started talking about Harry Potter, among other things like football, baseball, cross country. She's a runner. She's the first person in my town that I've met that listens to MuggleCast, and she's smoking hot too. I finally found someone that's smart, not quite as smart as me, but it'll work. I've got a 4.2. She has a 3.8.
Whoa.
That's terrible.
Okay.
How do you compare?
Let's keep
You're not
going. Let's
boyfriend.
keep
How do
going
you
here.
compare
Let's
your
keep
girl's
going here.
intelligence
Let's keep
to?
going.
Whoa.
Has a personality. We talk on the phone for hours without. We talk on the phone for end. No, we talk on the phone for hours on end without boredom. Is athletic, so I'm not alone in that department. Like I said, she runs cross country, and I play baseball for my high school team. And is beautiful. Now wait a second. Doesn't smoke and hot and beautiful. Never mind. That combination is near impossible to come by in my school. I'm about the only person that is a geek and jock at the same time. So it's very nice to have someone like that move in next door because everyone is either one extreme or the other. But her landlord was being a bully and called the new landlord and got her kicked out. So now she's going to a different school, but it's all right. So there you go, guys. Next time you see someone random in the hallway, ask them what they're listening to, and it could very well be MuggleCast.
It must have been that 3.8 grade
Yeah,
point
I
average that got him
wouldn't-
kicked out of school.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
He's got a
for
4.2, so he's safe.
Advice
but-
to guys out there: don't say you're smarter than your girlfriends. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, she listens to MuggleCast, dude. It's not like she won't
Yeah,
find
so
out.
email us next week and let us know how the breakup goes.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, well, there's your success story.
Appreciate it.
MuggleCast
break
Break up with him, okay? You hear me? What's her name? Do you know her name? Did it say her name?
No, I knew it, but it was on her MySpace.
Well, anyways, you know what? Break up with him. You're too good for him, okay? He obviously does not appreciate you.
Yeah, he may be a jock and a geek at the same time, but you really want both ends of the.
I think it's terrible you guys are talking him out of it. I don't appreciate that kind of attitude that you guys are sharing here on the show.
Sorry.
And we're going to have a talk after we finish recording because I'm not happy
Not happy
with
what?
the attitude you're bringing to the show.
Because we have such
I don't
an
appreciate it.
excellent track record with this whole dating service
Yeah.
thing.
So anyway, it's time, guys, that we have another debate.
Another debate.
We did one of these. We did one of these a few weeks
That's
ago.
debatable, Andrew.
We did one of these a few weeks ago, and we got a lot of great feedback about it. And then we didn't do another one. We'd planned to, but we just didn't. So, we're going to do another
I'll
one now,
take over here. Okay, quick reminder about the format. Each side, the affirmative and negative, or the pro and the con, each gets 2 minutes to present their case over the topic. And this week's topic is, in times of war, the wizarding world should lift the decree for the restriction of underage wizardry. Okay.
I would like
Andrew and
Laura
Laura
to go first.
are saying they should not lift the restriction. And Eric is on his own side. He's bidding by himself. So if he pulls this out, it's a miracle, folks. Because he has one mind working against the other two. Okay.
I think either way, Andrew and I look really bad.
So just as a reminder here, we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Each side gets 2 minutes to present their case. Then there will be about 5 minutes of discussion. Then they each get a minute to sum up their position.
I just want to say something first. The one big piece of feedback we got about this segment was that it sounds like we're yelling at each other, and we don't, it
That's
sounded like we don't like each other. Yeah, it's just a debate. We don't actually, if it sounds like we're getting angry at each other, which we shouldn't. I mean, well,
we're just passionate about what we do. Okay, that's all it is.
Right.
And
we still love each other. It's not. Don't take it
one
seriously.
other thing. Remember, there will be a poll on MuggleCast.com. Vote for who you think the winners are. my vote, I'll decide who I think won at the end of the debate. My vote counts for 25% of the vote, but remember, do not side with me just because I'm Ben Shane. Vote for whoever you think won, okay? No, seriously, last time there was some people who were angry because they thought that the only reason that Jamie and I won was because Andrew voted for us, which was obviously not true because we stomped him. Anyways.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yes, remember, vote for honestly whoever you think won. So
we never said that on the last. We never announced on the show who won the last debate.
It was
Jamie.
Jamie
Ben and Jamie.
Laura and Eric.
By popular vote too. So
we got about 2/3 of the votes of the fan vote, then plus Andrew's 25%. So yeah, we won. Okay, now let's get things started. Andrew and Laura. No, actually, hold on a second. Actually, the affirmative has to start first.
They should lift it. First of all, my main problem with the decree of the restriction of underage wizardry is that it's crap. It's complete crap. Even when not in war, they should completely abolish this rule, this law. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing but protect people, or rather hurt the people that don't deserve it. Harry didn't even use the hover charm that Dobby did, and he got slagged for it, and it was held against him in the large Wizengamot trials later on when it was just complete crap. Harry didn't do a charm in his own house, but just because he doesn't happen to live with magical relatives under their house, he gets all this flack for magic being done in his house in front of Muggles. Anybody could walk into his house and like do magic, and he would get in trouble for it. And I don't think that's fair at all. Now, on the other hand, if you live in a wizarding family like the Weasleys, you can play Quidditch every other weekend out in your backyard with poles and brooms, and you can have such a more fruitful life, rather, living, with magic. I really feel bad for the people who don't live in wizarding houses because they have to figure everything out once they get to Hogwarts. Whereas the wizarding community, it's the parents' responsibility to make sure the kids don't do anything. Yeah, bull crap. The parents will be teaching their kids everything they know. Just like that's how regular parenting takes place. So my finalizing reasons for the restriction of underage wizardry being lifted is that in times of war especially, it'll be very hard to track everything. Hang on. Are you guys still on? Okay, because somebody jumped out. All right. In times of Wizarding War, it'll be even harder to track that kind of thing. Who's going to be in whose houses? Everybody's going to be hiding. It doesn't work to begin with. It's a flawed system. Just leave it as it is, and that's pretty much it. Just leave it. It's absolute crap. It punishes the wrong people for the wrong reasons, and now that it's wartime, you just got to get rid of it.
Okay. Now, the negative. You have 2 minutes to respond.
There are concrete reasons as to why the ban on underage wizardry shouldn't be lifted, and the first of which is that it can seriously compromise the ability to detect other illegal magic going on. Say, if the Ministry is trying to keep tabs on what all is going on magically, 1,000 underage witches and wizards casting spells to their heart's content could clog the system, as it were, making Ministry and Aura responses much less effective. Eric mentioned that child safety should be considered, and he's right. However, I think it's important to remind ourselves that students are already allowed to defend themselves. The decree for the restriction of underage wizardry specifies that underage wizards are allowed to use magic in cases where defense is required. Not to mention, if you're having a bunch of untrained wizards running around casting magic spells that they don't quite know how to use, you can end up causing a lot more harm because people could get hurt.
Eric's only real point there was that it's crap that you would be able to that you should keep it on, because it just doesn't make sense. If you were to remove this ban, it would be mayhem. That's what it comes down to. It would just be mayhem.
Well, not to mention...
Just think of the bad kids who would be able to go out and, do some, cause some disaster in their local Muggle neighborhood. And they wouldn't be able to get in trouble for that? I mean, under some rule, they might.
Well, when you think about it, it's not like the average student could defend themselves from a Death Eater or Voldemort himself anyhow. So isn't it better to keep things the way they are in terms of students continuing their educations in a safe environment where magic is regulated Yeah.
Stop.
Okay, now 5. Let's say about until I say stop. About roughly 5 minutes of crossfire here.
All right, Eric. One of the first examples you cited was that children in wizarding homes can perform magic. I don't think that's necessarily true. You, for instance, said that they can play Quidditch. Well, you're not actually performing magic when you play Quidditch. The objects themselves are magical. So it's not like by the Weasley children playing Quidditch, they're breaking the decree for underage wizardry and not getting in trouble for it.
They're certainly breaking or infringing upon the Muggle Protection Act.
No, they're not, because
they're making themselves seen.
No, they're not, but they don't live in a Muggle community.
Visible. That's true. But just things like that. I'm saying people who grow up in wizarding families can be so much more well-rounded just because of their family, and there's no consequences as a result. Now, I don't think it's a big deal too much, though, because I do agree with what you guys said about Muggle children being held accountable for going and turning their Muggle's face into goo or something next door, but that's a home problem too. And that's, I don't necessarily know what the ministry is so afraid about as far as that goes. But what I'm saying is that even though you are allowed to use magic if you're defending yourself, that's way after they take you to court. That any of that information is found out. You get a court sentence, an owl through your window.
It doesn't matter.
And
you
so
still don't. You're still not found guilty of it.
Right, but in a time of war, so many people are going to be defending themselves. So many people who are younger and maybe even can't do it, but they're going to be using magic.
Exactly. So
and
that'll
can
probably
you imagine
change
the expense of owls that'll be sent out if anybody wants to maintain?
But Eric,
this
because it's a time of war, those regulations are probably going to change.
Right.
They're not going to bring
instances.
people to court for defending themselves against Dementors anymore. It's not going to happen because Harry's already proven that Voldemort's back and that people are going to have to do that.
So you're kind of basically saying that the ban will be lifted anyway.
No, I'm not saying the ban will be lifted. I'm saying people aren't going to be hauled to court every time they defend themselves. So it's not like we're going to have...
they'll still be apparently breaking this restriction, so
but they're
if
not
it's
breaking
kept
the
in place...
restriction because they're defending themselves and it's already in the
But who
decree
can
that
prove
they're
that?
allowed to.
They needed a witness. Dumbledore needed to bring in Mrs. Fig to prove
Harry's trial,
that they
Eric.
were defending themselves. What I'm saying is that so many people will be defending themselves. There's so many instances where people where underage wizards, more often than not, are going to be using magic to defend themselves. It's a complete waste of time.
Eric,
Citing-
that's a terrible example. If you reference his court trial,
is
Umbridge
a really
admitted
bad example.
Umbridge admitted herself that she sent the Dementors after him. So how could you
it
say?
was the ministry trying to get Harry into trouble.
Right.
It's not a good example.
Okay.
You can't take Harry's trial and say that's going to be the average experience of every person who uses defensive magic, because it's not.
No, in year 2, he still got the owl through the... I mean, in many instances, or in many cases, the owl worsened things for Harry. Or it sure didn't help. And the other thing, too, that I wanted to say about this is that I think once you... I don't really like the idea that you're not able to use magic when you get home from Hogwarts. I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, that has to do with the underage wizard thing as well. There's no way to refine your technique or do anything with magic unless you're being schooled. And I can kind of see they want people to come out well-rounded and well... I just think there's a large unaccountability. Like, for instance, Tom Riddle, had he been... living at a magic home, could have done far more evil and not gotten reprimanded for it when he was home from the holidays, just because he lived in a magical institution. Now, he didn't. It so happens that he didn't. But if he had...
So you think we should lift the ban so that people like Draco could run around and cast terrible spells and even more mayhem?
No. I'm saying Draco can cast terrible magical spells.
Not as much as
he wants to.
Not as much as he'd be able to.
As much as he wants to. Yes, under his own roof, because Lucius is a respected member of society. His son could get away with doing so much.
But we're not even talking about the past right now. We're talking about the future because they're in the middle of the war. If Draco's not even with his dad anymore, it doesn't matter because they're going to know that. If they have detections of an underage wizard running around the British countryside performing magic, they're going to know it.
Well, either way, they're both of age now, or they will both be of age soon, Draco and Harry. But it's just I really think it's flawed. I really think that there should not be a repercussion, considering they don't even have to do magic to get flagged. If somebody else does magic in their home, like Dobby or something, it just you're blamed for something you didn't do.
I want to know how you think it's flawed, because there is, like Laura brought up in her opening thing, you are allowed to use magic if it is for defensive purposes, like against a Dementor. So how is it flawed?
Okay, Dobby uses Hover Charm. Harry gets sentenced, or he gets a warning, an official warning that if he later gets warnings will bring him to court. That's a flaw.
How's it flawed? I'm not following you.
He didn't do the magic, and he didn't do the crime, but he's going to do the time.
But he didn't.
He didn't do any time for it.
Yeah.
No, he didn't that time. But how many more times would Dobby have had to go in and use a charm and he would get I'm saying, first of all, you're saying it's okay because he didn't do the time, that he's still getting officially labeled as that? Officially,
yes, because they gave him a warning.
Record.
It's not like they automatically flipped out on him and said, that's it.
No, but they had the record that he was being warned. They had the record that he was warned and made him look bad.
The thing
and of course they
Eric,
were trying to prove he was looking bad.
Eric, it was a rare situation. Again, using Harry as an example here isn't the best way to defend yourself, because
Harry's all we have.
All sorts of unusual events happen to Harry. Not every Muggle-born or Muggle-raised child is going to have a house elf in their house performing magic. It's not going to happen.
Which is true.
So there are obvious exceptions to the way systems work. It's how it happens. But
well, clearly the idea that a parent of a wizarding child will be responsible enough to prevent their kid from doing harmful magic to Muggles is completely a flawed idea.
Okay, that wraps up our little crossfire section there. So Laura and Andrew, you have 1 minute to tell me why in times of war they should not lift the ban.
It would just be a huge mistake. There would be mayhem on the streets. Who knows? Maybe a wizard could make a mistake in casting a spell on someone because everyone's on edge. So maybe they'll see someone and be like, Avada Kedavra. Okay, maybe not that bad, but
well, just like in times of war in our world, do we say it's okay for underage children to run around with guns? I mean, and just for instance, whenever you're learning to drive, just because you may need to go to the store by yourself or because your parents aren't home, it doesn't mean you can drive by yourself if you haven't been certified. So these underage people who are learning how to use magic and they haven't refined their technique yet, they obviously can't run around using magic unmonitored. And the only place that the Ministry has a common ground on monitoring that magic is at Hogwarts, so they shouldn't be able to perform it outside of school.
And this is all assuming that during this war, there are going to be random attacks on people, and even if there is, that's where you are allowed to defend yourself.
Eric, tell me why they should lift the decree.
I think on principle, it's a decent idea that you have to restrict kids who are obviously not in a closed environment supervised by an elder to use magic, and that in itself is a good idea. But I don't personally think that it works. The same ways that it should. It prevents magic from being done in front of Muggles, maybe, but at the same time, you could still bring Muggles to a wizarding household and perform all sorts of crap on them, especially if you're a pure-blood wizard who hates Muggles. You could do so many things to Muggles, and there would be no way of detecting it, almost. I'm trying to think that maybe there's something in the Ministry that goes along with this that allows somebody to tell what charm was used, such as the hover charm. So there's some way of maybe flagging houses or detecting what kind of magic is used in a particular instance. So maybe in the war, even if a Muggle accidentally is hit by an inexperienced wizard, there might be some record of it. I'm just saying it shouldn't be banned. People should not have to not necessarily count for their actions, but I'm trying to think of a situation where they are actually, trying to vandalize streets when they're running from Voldemort. I think during wartime, I think it's very unlikely, or not unlikely, but I think they've got bigger fish to fry than the little kids who are going to be running around the street. Nobody's going to be running around. They're going to be hiding in their houses waiting for Voldemort.
Good debate, everybody. I'm very impressed. A few comments before I give my decision. Something that Eric, you should have spent more time on in your first little spiel there was that it says in times of war. You spent a lot of time explaining why the decree for the restriction of underage wizardry was just bad to begin with. But you should have spent time saying, okay, in times of war, these people are going to be under threat. Why should the ministry have to worry about little kids casting spells when they could be being attacked, Laura and Andrew, something that you should have mentioned more, and especially in your last little thing, was that whenever your life is being threatened, it is okay for you to use it. So therefore, it doesn't matter if the decree is lifted because they can use it when they absolutely need to. But Eric, well, I know, but I'm saying you should have mentioned that in your last thing. But Eric, something that you should have brought up, like in response to that, was not just about the hassle it's going to bring on the ministry. I like the thing you brought up about the owls, but that when parents aren't around as much, they may need magic to make their lives easier and perform everyday activities, and not just against Death Eaters. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. But yeah, overall, I think it was good. I don't know if this is going to be the popular decision here, but I'm going to have to vote with the affirmative, or Eric Skull.
Oh, you are such a tool.
No, hold on. Here's why. Here's why. He made a good point that you guys brought up. Okay, that they should only be allowed to defend themselves when they're quote unquote qualified to defend themselves, and I think that's a really good point, that they should lift the ban on underage wizardry just because of the hassle it's going to cause. When there's going to be more attacks, the ministry's forces are going to be spread thin to begin with. So they're going to need absolutely everybody, and they're not going to need to be tracking underage magic because it's too much of a hassle, especially when these people are going to be attacked. And something else that he did mention in his last little spiel is that these kids aren't going to go out destroying streets just because they're allowed to use magic, that it's going to be used when they absolutely need to defend themselves. So there you have it. Eric Skull wins, in my opinion.
All right. It's up to the listeners now to decide.
No, yeah, it's up to the listeners to decide. Remember,
it's up to the
if you honestly
listeners
think
not to be delusional. Jeez.
Okay, if you honestly think that Andrew and Laura won the debate, please vote for them. Do not let my decision bear on yours, have any weight on yours at all. And something else that's important to mention: please don't let this turn into a popularity contest about, I think Andrew's the coolest host, so I'm going to vote for Andrew. Don't make it about
Eric
that.
is funny, he talks too much, or anything like that. So
we already know I am the coolest host, so just
you are.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So
alphabetically, dude.
See, I have to start saying I'm just kidding after everything I say, because then I get these emails about how big of a head I have. People don't understand. I'm just doing it to be sarcastic and funny. Yeah, people
in the comments, oh my god, did you see him last week?
Yeah,
they were going on about how...
You guys have big heads. No, we don't.
I think it was like me, Micah, and Kevin were the only ones who weren't egotistical now or something.
Yeah. And listen, it's a joke. We're just kidding. When I act arrogant, like saying that, we already know I'm the coolest host, I'm just kidding. I don't really mean that.
Yeah, he does.
Well, yes, I do. But the point is... No, I'm serious. It's just a joke, okay? Please, don't take it seriously. Just tired of hearing that. On that note, I think it is time we start saying goodbye.
Oh, wait. There's something at the bottom of the right, Lee. What is this? It's number 9. British joke.
Yeah, well, you're not British.
That was back yesterday when we thought Jamie was going to be on. But I guess that Jamie is off learning his French.
Before we flip the easy button.
Oui. Yeah, guys, the decision of who would host this week came down to this little sound.
That was easy.
We had to flip the easy button to decide would it be Laura coming on the show or Jamie coming on the show, because it was either one or the other that we had to sacrifice. And Jamie lost. It landed on the uneasy side. The easy side sounds like this.
That was easy.
So, there you go. That's how we decide things here around MuggleCast. So, next time you need something decided, just let me know and I'll flip the easy button for you.
Yeah.
And you're at staff.
Anyways, the P.O. Box. P.O. Box 223, Moundridge, Kansas 67107. Send us anything except Subway gift cards. Send those to Darfur, please.
You can also call the MuggleCast voicemail box. You can dial 12820 magic. And if you're in the United Kingdom, you can dial 020-8144-0677. If in Australia, where we lost the award and we'll probably be canceling that number because apparently nobody likes us down there, you can call
Down under.
02
Down under.
8003-5668. You can also Skype the username MuggleCast to leave your voicemail, question, comment, or concern.
If you're an inspiring stalker and wish to view images of
You can view our MySpace. Perfect transition. MySpace.com/MuggleCastFans. We also got the Facebook, we got the YouTube group, we got the Frapper group, we also have the fan listing and forums. Please vote for us on
Also,
Podcast How I
check
Show Your
out-
Support, and rate and review us on Yahoo Podcasts. Yeah, I just want to say again, thanks to everyone for listening.
This is the love room right here.
This is the Love Room. Something's heating up.
Love Shack is a little old place where we can get together. Love Shack, baby.
I'm Andrew Sims.
Love
Someone
Shack.
save me.
Yep.
I am
it's
Ben
a
Shane.
side
I'm
up
Laura
the side
Thompson.
of the road. And I am Eric Skull.
Kevin.
And I'm Kevin Stack.
Jamie.
I'm Jamie Lawrence.
Micah.
I'm Micah Tannenbaum.
We'll see everyone next week for episode 61. Woo!
You guys want something really messed up with time. I was born April 23rd, Eastern Standard Time, 12:11, right after midnight. But in about 7 time zones in the world, I was born on April 22nd. And it was even like, yeah. So if you were to go to
Wow.
my birthday,
That's like people
Wow.
who are born on the extra day in a leap year. Technically, they're only 4 years old.
well, no, it's
you
not
were
even
born
that
in, like,
random. Anybody born
1986.
on the East Coast within like the first 6 hours of the day, it's a different date somewhere else around the world. But I guess that's true with any time of day. It's
Whoa.
pretty much
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
everybody has like
If I was
birthdays.
born at 11 p.m.
I think
No,
that
you don't.
extra
You have
day in
one
a leap
birthday,
year.
okay?
I think being born on the extra day in a leap year it just tops that, Eric. I'm sorry.
Eric, you're just trying to make yourself feel unique.
Yeah, that's
If
it.
you have 4 birthdays or something.
No, but in the year 2000, my birthday was Easter Sunday, and I thought I was like prodigal son or something. I was like, oh, flipping out. It was really cool.
That you're
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it was coming.
Guys, I have the answer. You know who gave it to me?
Bono.
Bono.
Oh,
Bono?
I have the answer. It's in his song called Mercy. Love
How
is
did
when
he
I
give it
lie.
to you?
Love puts the blue back in my eye. Love has come again.
Yeah, what
I am gone
wonderful
again.
lyrics.
Are Bono's
Wait, but there's
eyes
more.
big?
Love's got to be with a wink. Only then love gets the chance to speak. Love will come again. I'll be gone again. Again.
So how do you get love into a room?
I think Micah Tannenbaum is pure love.
Wait, there's more. Love is
So you're
justice
saying
and
we
charity.
should, so you're
Okay,
saying we
love
should lock
brings
Micah
with it
up
a
in room?
clarity.
Ben, is that
Yeah,
what you're
that's
saying?
a
We should
love
lock
room.
Micah up in a room?
Mm-hmm. Micah Tannenbaum is love.
Love is justice
Okay,
and charity.
here's my point.
Seriously,
Love
what
brings
the hell?
with it
Okay,
a
Laura, you're onto
clarity.
something.
Love has come
Andrew,
again.
shut up. Thank you.
I'm alive.
Oh my god. Hush. Anyway, here's what I'm
This is
saying.
gonna be
Okay,